Yeah, really good week, long week. I think it was 8 games in 10 days in 3 different ballparks. So I was really proud of our kids for fighting through that long, hard week and playing really high-level ball right up to the end of the series. So anyway, 5-0 on the week. Started with a Monday night game with Baylor, followed by a game at Nicholls State, and then we come back home here with, trying to even think of it, my mind has been a long, confusing week, but Troy. And really proud of Summer. We started her every game last week, tried to keep her under 90 pitches, and she went right through the week well. Offense seems to be getting better every day, and I like where we're at. We're halfway through the season, 26 games. I've been looking at everything we did last year compared to where we're at this year, and I feel really good about where our ball club is and where we're headed. And then this is going to be another really good test for us with South Al, who has a history of fierce rivalry with us, and we go to their field, and then of course tomorrow night we have McNeese come here to start the week with.
You were just mentioning about how you said looking at compared to this year. What are you most confident and excited about this season compared to last season at this point?
Number one thing right now, we're healthy. Everybody's in really good shape physically, and that's critical. We don't have anybody out of the Hollins who's out for the whole year with an ACL tear, but on our current roster, nobody's hurting. There's very little even going on as far as minor nagging injuries. We're almost injury free, which is huge at this point in the season. Extremely excited about the way Summer's pitching, obviously, and Coach Roberts seems to be really happy with the bullpens he's having with his other kids. And I think after we get through, this stretch that we've been with Troy and Texas State, our plan is to start trying to get more innings for the kids, and we're feeling like we have a chance to host a NCAA regional, and we're feeling the need to win every game. So we'll try to balance that all out and increase the innings for our other kids as best we can. But at the same time, we don't want to jeopardize hosting a regional. Offensively, I'm just extremely pleased with the entire roster. Last year at this time we had a couple of kids hitting 300. Now we've got like the whole lineup plus 2 or 3 kids on the bench, and we've got Cassie Shomo. I'm having trouble getting her innings right now. She's batting 324, 325. And last year we had her in the lineup almost every game. She was hitting 185 at this time. So it's a different world offensively than where we were a year ago, and we'll just keep trying to work hard and build on that and get even better.
Coach, you mentioned hosting a regional, and I believe the RPI is out, and you're at 18. Have you had conversations with yourself or with other coaches as far as future scheduling? Is there early tournaments? Does that need to be reevaluated? Who do you play in the early tournaments? But you don't always have control over how the Sun Belt's going to do.
Yeah, I think you try to schedule ahead, and it's really tricky. And this year when we lost the 2 games up at Oklahoma, that had an effect on our RPI. I hadn't heard what we were. I expected to be in the top 20, but it's just hard. It's really hard to go up and from this point in the season. But RPI is one of the indicators that they really look hard at. What we have to do is just dominate our opponents the rest of the way, and I really believe that the committee will believe that we're one of the top 12, 13, I don't think 16. I think they'll think we're one of the top 12, 13 teams in the country if we can dominate our schedule the rest of the way.
It may seem unrealistic for you to have to win every game left on the schedule, but can you afford to drop 1, 2, or do you have to win every single game you have left?
I think we have to win almost every single game. I think we can afford to lose 1 maybe, and depends on who it's to. Like there's teams that we can't afford to lose a game to. But I think we have to get to the end of the regular season with 4 losses. And just because of the degree of difficulty of our schedule, if we're a top 10, 12 team in the country, we can do that. And so that's the fine line that we're at. When we lost the Florida State series, for you know, something that couldn't be avoided, and it's just part of being a mid-major. But that was a huge loss to us. And then we tried to recover by going to Oklahoma, and then we got weather and we lost that game. And you know, it is what it is. Even right now, I'm making phone calls. I'd love to pick up a midweek game with an SEC school, but you know, there's just not a lot of incentive for them to do that. And so we'll do what we have to do. We need to win out. I think our numbers, and I think the way we win and the number of games we win, those things will speak a lot to the committee. Also, what you have to realize is, you know, the teams that host those, there's a lot of lobbying going on. There's a lot of respect and a lot of communication with committee members when they pick those regional hosting sites. They're going to look at, and they're going to try to pick the top 16 teams in the country, regardless of the RPI. And you know, there's things that go into, just like basketball last night, where they're not exactly going to go by that formula. It's one of the indicators. And if we show we're one of the top 10, 12 ball clubs in the country, there's no reason that they won't put us in that position. And I believe that if we in order just to win out, to win the majority of your game, if we come in with a 49-4 record in the regular season, that's hard to do. It's the same reason Georgia lost 2 out of 3 at Missouri. Texas A&M took game 3 from LSU. It's just hard to play the game over and over and over and not get beat unless you're really special. No, we have to be. I mean, we're focused on the RPI in September when we're scheduling, and we're worried about the RPI constantly. And there's only so much you can do to control it, but it's something we have to live with and be aware of all the time as a coach.
What's special about Bailey Perry as a hitter? You know, what's she doing well right now that you really like?
Which play?
Bailey Perry.
Bailey's just a really talented athlete. She's got a lot of physical strength. You know, kid squats 400 pounds, and she's very intelligent. She's, you know, adapting to our program, adapting to our training, adapting to the crowd, the fans. You know, there's a lot of things going on with her, but her talent is immense, and I expect her to just keep getting better and better as the season goes on. You know, I want to get a rest in July, after the World Series is over. But I'm worried about winning ball games right now. And you know, when we played Friday night, she had less innings pitched than the starter for Troy, and I don't hear anybody worrying about that kid. You know, I mean, I think it's just because she's so good, we all realize how valuable she is to our ball club. We're all worrying about injury, but my philosophy on injury has always been when you start worrying about them, that's when they'll happen. And we'll take care of her. We're doing everything we can as far as, you know, rehab and icing down and all the treatments we can give her, we're giving her. And she's saying she's feeling good. Her velocity just keeps getting better and better, which I think will be an indicator when she starts getting tired. We'll see a decrease in velocity, and we'll watch that close, and then we'll have to adjust as we get to that point. No, I don't believe so. I think there's so many good facilities now that, you know, used to you'd run into that where they wouldn't have lights or they wouldn't have restrooms. Haven't heard much about that last 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to come down to them picking out the teams that they believe or the top 16 teams in the country to host.
What's difficult about McNeese this week?
McNeese is a very well coached ball club. They have a history of winning, and then anytime you're playing that interstate rivalry or local rivalry, that's a factor. And kids, you know, you throw records out the window, and you know, you can throw expectations out the window. It's going to come down to who plays the best that night. And McNeese is a very well coached ball club, and they've got talent. And they've got the belief in themselves that they can win. So we expect it to be a really good fight.
And was there a moment when you knew that South Alabama was really a rivalry, just from your own experience?
Well, I'd followed the Sun Belt for several years. I had a friend that coached in the league, and so I'd followed that rivalry pretty good. Knew a lot about it. I remember the Beanball Wars and different things, you know, that I've heard about over the years. So I look forward to going there. It'll be the first time that I played on South Alabama's field or coached on their field, and I look forward to seeing that and seeing that atmosphere. And hopefully, it'll be a really good rivalry weekend.
This year's team, a lot of teams probably couldn't handle their coaches saying what you're saying, that we gotta win almost every game. But it seemed like this year's team, emotionally, just the pressure, you feel like they can handle that.
I think this is a really, really, really talented ball club. I mean, I've coached on 3 teams in the SEC that went to the World Series. I've coached, 2 Georgia teams that made the Final Four of the World Series. I've never coached a team with more talent than this ball club. It's a really talented team, and they have a really good mix and diversity of talents. We've got speed and we've got power. We've got a great shortstop. We've got a good third baseman. And we've got a great catcher this year. We've got a great outfield. So we can play defense. We can do a lot of things, and I think they need to expect a lot. They need to expect to win every single game. I expect to win every game, and they should expect to win every game. And the key will be when we do lose a game, how do we handle it and how do we respond to the adversity? And we need to be good at that too.